Okay, so you made it to your destination. And now the question is, what do we do now? Well, the first step that you have to do is actually disconnect the camper from the truck. And what we're about to see is how to disconnect the chains, the cables, and how to level the truck. So follow along. Okay, so this is our goal. We have to disconnect the hitch, the sway bar, the cables, and the chains and all that from the truck, from the camper. And I'm gonna set up the tripod in here so I can show you exactly how we do this. And I may speed it up so we can go through this really quick. Okay, so first thing is first, put on some gloves. What we're gonna do is we're gonna disconnect the hitch from the truck. And what we're going to do, exactly, I'm gonna go to the other side so you can see what I see. All right, so we're gonna take the power supply from the truck, which is the 7-pin connector. We're just gonna put it right here. And then what we want to do is lower the power jack all the way to make contact with this block. So I'm gonna lower the jack. I'm gonna center this correctly in there. All I want to do is relieve a little bit of pressure so that I can remove the sway bars. No need to lift it all the way up. We just want to remove a little bit of pressure from the RV and into the ground. All right, so I can see that the power jack is lifting a little bit off the ground. And at this point, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the first pin, which is your hitch pin. I'm gonna move this backwards. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to remove the sway bars from the hitch. Okay, so I'm gonna go up a little bit more. That's about there. And what I want to do is now remove this pin, which you just lift it up like when we put it together. Take this off. And then this sway bar should come off very, very simple, very easy. And then the next thing is I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. With my sway bar, is my pin. Now, you notice that when we first installed this, what we also had to do was put some pins in here, right? So I'm gonna take those pins off. When I do that, now I can remove my sway bar. Here goes the first one. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. Here's my pins. Remove my sway bar. The next thing that I want to do is actually remove my chain. Okay, now that I have all my chains removed, what I want to do now is actually continue to lift this hitch so it can release the truck. So let's keep going. And that's exactly what we want to do. So now all we have to do is move the truck away from the camper so we can level this camper correctly. But before we do that, remember, don't lose the pins, don't lose the clips, and don't, of course, put your sway bars into the compartment or into the truck, whatever you're gonna store. So let's do that and we'll move the truck. All right, so we moved the truck, and of course, the last thing that we want to do is make sure that we put our sway bars into the storage, or like I said, into the camper. Here's one. Here's the other one, so I'm gonna put them on my truck. And that's it. That's how easy we can disconnect the camper from the truck.